Good morning, everybody, and welcome to On the Couch with ECD. Today, we have three topics that we will be discussing. My name is Charmaine Buerta. I'm the Managing Director of EduX SA, and hopefully I'm going to be able to shed some light and help some of the teachers out there in the ECD sector. So today is my first time working on Zoom and trying to pre-record so that we can have a watch party on Facebook. So I am not that technologically inclined, so I had to work very hard to see how we're going to go about doing this. And I know that some of you are sitting in the same predicament as I am. So let's go and have a look. I'd like to share this screen with you. So I'm going to take us here. Hopefully we are in the right spot now. There we go. On the Couch with ECD. As I said, my name is Charmaine. So today we're going to be talking about the red, the green, and the blue topics on our screen. Today's program, we're going to look at during the lockdown, what is going to happen to us in the ECD sector, what we should be doing, and then how it's going to affect us for the rest of 2020. On our green dot section over here, we are going to see what you can do to still communicate and work with your children at home using technology. And then the blue dot is the technology I was talking about. How can we all become a little bit more tech savvy? So let's look at our first dot, the red dot. The schools are all now on lockdown. And as you know, the president made an announcement, and for the next 21 days, we were asked to stay at home. The chance of this being extended is there, but we do not know. Everybody keeps on asking these questions. Will it be extended? Will it be extended? The government themselves do not know. We have to look at the curve of the virus before it can. If you think about it clearly, going back to school, how are you going to screen if the children coming to your school now have COVID or don't? So the government has to look at a lot of factors. There are hundreds of things that they have to take into consideration before they can clear us to go back to school. So amidst all the speculation that is there, the announcement that was made is that the schools would reopen after the Easter weekend. And obviously, if we look at the tendencies of other countries, we can see that there's around about this time a spike in the growth of this virus totals, the amount of people that have been infected. So I personally haven't got insight into this, and we will know when the president and the ministers announce it on government platforms. And only then should we believe the news that we are hearing. The facts that we do have for you is the testing that's taking place is taking exceptionally long. It's supposed to take a few hours or days, and currently it's taking between 4 to 6 days. We know there was this big rollout. Everybody is being screened at the moment to see if they might have any of the symptoms, and lots of people are self-isolating. But we can't really look at the figures unless we, at the end, have the total tests that have returned. So we are in a bit of a dark, hazy place where we do not know exactly how many people have been infected, how many people have died. The statistics that we do have at this point, I don't think that they are 100% reflection of what's truly happening. And it's not the government's fault, and it's not the people on ground roots level that's testing's fault. It's just, it does take time to screen and scan and look through these things in the pathological labs to make sure that the people really are positive or negative. So please stop looking at all the rubbish that's being posted on Facebook. There are so many new groups that have been created, COVID this and virus this and I don't know what else. Please be warned that the things that people are posting are not a true reflection of what's going on. There's lots of WhatsApp videos and WhatsApp voice messages. Please don't take those into consideration. You do not know who the source or the person is who spoke there, and even if you think it's somebody that you know exceptionally well, they aren't part of the ministry or the government, so please don't listen to what they are saying. Those things just cause a lot of fear in many cases, and it's better to wait and see what the facts are when they are presented by government themselves. If we look at the overseas projections, as I've said, the chance of the extension is large, and therefore, in the ECD sector and in preschools and primary schools, government has asked that it is crucial that people get tech savvy, that they start working online so that the children don't fall behind too much. There are a few things that have happened. The schools, as we said, are on lockdown. And because of this, there was a new act called the POPI Act, the Privacy Act, where you're not supposed to share photos or videos or personal information of children. Would have come out now. It's gone to court to be vetted and to be put onto the roll and gazetted. But due to the isolation that we are in and the shutdown that we are in the state of emergency, it is not possible for the POPI Act to be rolled out now. What I'm saying regarding this to our preschool owners are, please make sure that you get your paperwork in order. Make sure that your application forms has a little note to the parents and type of an indemnity for the POPI Act. So read up on the POPI Act, go and look what it entails. And remember, it's a two-way street with the parents. In your document that you're going to send out with your application form, you can say, we would like to have the opportunity to share video footage and photos, but in return, we will ensure that this child's image is not harmed, or that everything that is presented is done above board, so that the parents also have the safety and security of knowing that if you are going to share a photo on Facebook of their child winning a prize, that it's not a photo of their child with a pie smashed in their face, and at the end of the day, it leaves emotional scars. So the POPI Act has a lot of things to look into. So go on Google, look at the POPI Act, see how it will be implemented in your preschool, and start getting that in order. Online school registrations, last year they started very early in the year, and they opened up a portal, Department of Education, where children could go and they could register for grade 1, specifically because the grade 1s, their spaces filled up so quickly, and half of the year they didn't have space for children, or half of the first 2 months they didn't have space for grade 1s in any schools. Now we've just received notification that the online school registrations for 2021 has also been pushed back. So when we, in the end, do get a new calendar, make space so that you can also, as private schools, advertise, and that you can make sure that schools are, that you are amidst the schools, that parents are aware of, that there is openings, and that you take these ages of children and what your school is all about. You will see in the media and on news and everywhere that the Department of Education is at the moment really focusing on the matrics, trying to get them through this year. And then also that UNICEF and Takalani Sesame and the SABC, all of them have come on board so that the SABCs have programs running every day where the children can sit and learn maths and science and whatnot watching television. So primary and high school are covered, but ECD is not covered yet. So a group of NGOs, people from Innovation Edge and our company EduX SA, and a lot of other companies that are volunteering have now partnered, and they're going to go in with a DOH, and they're going to have a radio slot every day for about 8 to 10 minutes daily to help people in the ECD sector understand what ECD is all about, and the frustrations that there are, and also to guide, because what's happening at the moment is everybody is pushing content. They're sending out, do this with your children, do this with your children, which is actually not 100% right. Why? Because we have to train and teach these children developmentally appropriate. So you might be giving steak to somebody who should actually still be drinking milk. So we'll be looking at that. So these are the major things that you need to look into. We don't know when the schools are going to reopen. The chance of the extension is there, so what are you going to do? Worst case scenario, we stay longer, what's next? And then over here, check up on the POPI Act, make 100% sure you know what the POPI Act is about, get your paperwork in order so that you do have permission to share photos, especially if you're a student as well and you're studying. If you do not have POPI Act permission, you must either cover or paste a sticker or something on the child's face. You are not allowed to present that in any of your work as a student, because it is against the Children's Act. And then for online school registrations, that's being pushed back. Make sure that you now reschedule a date when we know we're going to open up, and make people aware of your school so that you can have new applications for 2021. And then as soon as we know what's going to happen with our radio slot and what time it's going to be, we will broadcast that. Please listen every day, and phone in and ask, and join us on our EduX SA ECD News Flash group on Facebook, and we will help wherever we can. So let's look at a few tips and pointers under the green, as I said. Right, let's get back. I think you have to see the picture. And the picture is whole body development. And then also that we are focusing on developing this child who's not in front of you, who's sitting in front of mom or dad or granny or an older brother or sister, according to their abilities, their skills, and their age. As I said, we can't give steak to a child that actually needs milk. So you cannot expect of a 3 to 4 year old to write their own name. That is just an example. So I've made a few tips and pointers for you guys that I would like you to look at when you are going to start working with your parents on a technological platform. The first one here is we normally study and train over 2 weeks in ECD. So we have one theme, example on the farm, and we stick to that one theme for 2 weeks. In the first week, we lay the groundwork, and then we start making it more complicated. So there's progression. And in the last week, we start handing out a type of worksheet so that that child can reflect on their ability, and we can then observe and assess them to see if they need remedial or enrichment, or if they don't understand something. So we are focusing on the whole development of this child. So for the parents, this is a very difficult concept, and we have to understand they weren't trained as teachers. So we've got to get down to that level and still make it fun for the parents and for the child in their care. So tip one is 2 weeks is too long for one theme. So stick to a theme per week. And then tip two, keep it simple and specific. As I said, these people do not know what you are supposed to be doing as a teacher, and therefore you have to instruct the adult as well as guide the child. So when you give things out, it's like a little recipe. First do this, then do this, then do this, then put the oven on 180. It's the same as a recipe. So when you are handing information to a parent, see if you would be able to bake the cake, have the recipe in the way it should be. And then tip three is, if you're going to get these parents involved, if you want to make everybody excited, say for instance, you've created a WhatsApp group and the whole class's parents are on that group now, and it's the bees class, and you as teacher have made little short videos, you've downloaded links, you've found things that the children would be able to do in their homes with home supplies, or with some of the supplies that you sent in the busy bag. Some schools I know did that. And then you have to make sure that that whole little recipe is covered. Will mommy know what to do? Will they have the supplies in their house to do this? Or can I show them something that they could use as a recyclable material, like an empty bottle or the back of a Kellogg's cornflakes box or something like that? So you've got to think outside of the box. And remember, we are looking at rural and urban children. So children out there in rural areas do not have access to everything that the children here in urban areas have. So, and we have children in our preschools from all sectors of life. So we've got to make sure that we meet them where they're at. And some of them have been left with granny or with auntie because mom is a nurse or dad is a doctor. So we also need to know that they are aware of what to use in their surrounding area to reach the outcomes that we need for the children. And then number 4, everything that we do should be current and relevant. And therefore, we put our themes that we would have done this term a little bit aside. We shift them to the side and we help this child in the period that we're in. I said to my teachers once, if we're going to go on a bus trip with the children and we're going to take them to, let's say, the Snake and Reptile Park, for them, just getting on the bus is a huge thing. They haven't done it before. Being on an escalator is a huge thing. So we have to prepare them for the bus trip. So we pack our chairs in our class that looks like a bus, and we get a ticket, and the one is the conductor and the one is the driver, and we play pretend with these children that we are going on a bus before we go on the bus. Then when the bus arrives, it's not a big problem. It's easy for them to get on the bus and go wherever we want them to have fun. The same is true for what is happening now. We are in a time in our lives where everything is unsure and uncertain. Lots of people are talking about things that scare them and that these children are listening to and hearing the whole day. So our approach, I think, should be looking at what's happening now and giving an introduction to the things that these children might, in the course of this virus, be exposed to. So I'm going to give you a few pointers on which topics I think personally you should be sharing with your children at this very moment. Creating a WhatsApp group is an inexpensive way. So you take the parents and you load them onto this group, and you name your group, and you tell the parents when they're all there what the purpose of the group is, so that you'd like to communicate, you miss the children, and you want to keep it cost effective. And this is what you'd like them to do in the following week or so with the kids. It really works. We've been doing this at Little Blessings, my preschool, and I'm going to be showing you a little bit of the footage and stuff that we actually have received back from parents because we've done the first week's work. So tip number 5, make 100% sure that the activities you are sharing are developmentally appropriate. So if you are a school, you can't send the same content to all 7 WhatsApp groups. The teacher that's working with the babies will do baby massage and muscle movement and pulling up and rolling and things that are age appropriate for them, staying inside at the theme. The 1 to 2 year olds, the sounds of an ambulance, the sounds of different things that's happening around them now, for example, and then also lots of pictures and bigger pictures than you would normally show. And if the parents don't have pictures, almost all of them do have cell phones, so they can learn how to look at pictures and show them. Or you could share links of little videos that have the pictures, or you could make pictures at home and share that with them. So think a little bit outside the box. And then parents do not know better. Do not let them tell you how to do it. You need to express to them how they must do it. If they're saying, watch, my child is 3 and writing their name, please say to them, Mommy, please don't write the name now. It's not developmentally appropriate. Rather exercise holding the pencil correctly. Here's how you do a proper pencil grip. And here are some squiggly lines or some lines that they can follow from, say, for instance, the dog house to the dog, and the dog must get to the dog house, and see if they can, on these dotted lines, reach the outcome. This is preparatory writing. So you are guiding them. They are not guiding you. So going on, this was our first week. So if you haven't done this yet, you could use this as your first week. And what we did in our first week is we focused on washing hands. Of course, because the virus, every outcome that was spoken about this virus said the best hygiene helps defend the person against this virus. So teaching the children to wash their hands for the appropriate amount of time, and getting them to interact with their parents, and using time every day, talking about singing songs, rhyming, using things at home to make these things, keeps this child stimulated in a playful manner. We learn through play. We learn through repetition. So what we did is we actually started a WhatsApp group, which we've had for a while with each of our classes, and we guided our teachers to make their own videos. And the planning and preparation that they would have done, they've just simplified it. They've made it so simple that a parent would be able to do it. So we started with washing your hands to get rid of germs. And during this time, the teachers sent out a science experiment, this one down here, where you put water into a plate and you throw a pepper on it, and then you touch the plate, and then the pepper's on your finger and you can see the germs are on you, and you have discussions with the children. Then the child goes and puts the finger in soap, and once you put the finger back into the peppery water, the pepper disperses. And that is why it's important to wash your hands with soap. So if the children understand the concept, they've learned a life lesson, okay? Then after that, we did splish splosh, taking a bath, and then brushing your teeth. So on Monday, WhatsApp video from the teacher went out, and here's a reminder to everybody: say hi to your kiddies and say you love them and you miss them, because they love and they miss you. You are their teacher, they emulate you, they look up to you, and it's hard for some of them. They haven't seen you for a long time. So teachers, brush your hair, put on the makeup, do not look like you just stepped out of the laundry room. you look professional, you are a professional ECD facilitator, and then you go and you make your little video and you greet your children. You get them all excited and say, Mommy and Daddy and the adults are going to help you so that we can learn how to wash your hands. Now, there's got to be in this a good step-by-step explanation. So we sent a little voice note where we said, dear moms and dads, please make sure you have soap and a wash basin and a towel so that you can dry your hands with. And then please watch this little video that we sent on washing your hands. So they received that. And we asked them to list what they needed. We did that. And then we asked them, well, they must make something for us. We want them to try and draw a tap because not everybody has printers now. And then they can make homemade paint using food coloring, or we found a few options on Pinterest and we sent that through to them and we said, we would love the children to explore washing hands. And even if they don't have blue food coloring, they don't have to rush out to the shops and go buy. We're trying to avoid social contacts or social distancing, but they might have red. Then for today, the water is red. It's about the concept. So we found this little, if I can point to it up there, we found this activity on Pinterest. And I thought, well, this is a good one. The child could trace their hands, or mom and dad could trace the hand with them. And then they could try and cut it out if they had scissors. And then with an earbud or with a fingertip, they could print the water. That's after washing their hands so that they can see what washing their hands is all about. And then we send homemade paint suggestions to the parents and the links with all the songs. This is the way we wash our hands, wash our hands. We found that on YouTube. And then we found an amazing app called SnapTube. You can download anything from YouTube. That means the teacher downloads it with their data, and when you share it, the other person doesn't have to watch it in real time, so they don't have to download data again. So you're saving the parents a little bit of money too. And then all the links to the songs and the snap tubes that you have then saved for that week. And then some games or some cell phone stories. ABC Mouse and www.africastorybook.org has amazing stories. Try and keep to the theme. Got to explain to the moms and dads, we stick to this theme. We're not going to do something else. We stick to this theme. And then teachers, if you want to look for activities, of course, Pinterest is stunning, but you could also go and look at Google, Sparklebox, DLTKS, and there are thousands of free websites. Don't go spending money to get resources because many of your parents cannot print it anyway. So even if you hand draw it, if you don't have a printer, like this hand draw the tap, show the parents with a hand drawn instruction, freehand drawing what you'd want from them. And then give them some pointers and some tips on what types of questions to ask their children, what concepts you will be teaching them. So after our first week, our parents helped us by sending little photos or little videos that their kiddies really were doing these activities. We simplified it for the younger children and made it more complex for the older children. With younger children, when we work with younger children, bigger things, bigger pictures, easier words, very shorter songs, less complicated rhymes. And then the older they get, more words, smaller pictures, more detailed. So remember, developmentally appropriate activities for your class. So here we do have the Poppy Act in place at our school, so we can take photos. Here are a few of our little ones with the activities that we asked them to do with their parents. This is one of our teachers, Teacher Lashandra. She's one of our 1 to 2 year teachers, and in our little party pack that we sent home when the schools were about to close those 3 days, we prepared a few resources, color papers, a ball, some paint, some clay, things, worksheets, anything we could think of that the parents then collected on the last day. And then here she set up a game, was one of her game activities. They had to learn the color yellow, blue, orange, and red, just this recognition of those sounds, that there are some colors that are yellow, blue, orange, and red, and see if they could identify them not all of them. Remember, it's young children. And then if they could try and coordinate throwing the little ping pong ball through the hoops. It is a fun activity that the parents said the children screamed and laughed out of their bellies doing this. And no, it is not something that we would normally just do, but it was a fun activity. It incorporated coordination, trying to learn and recognize colors, and then throwing the ball in a specific direction, directionality. There were so many things, talking about the colors. Every time they went through a color, the parent and the child said, this is yellow, this is red. So it really reinforced the colors and learning and teaching colors. Over here, we have some of our kiddies. We did crumple and paste. They did not have paint. So we sent out a glue recipe that you could make from cake flour. And we said, okay, then if you don't have paint, crumple and tear, crumple and paste. And there's the soap, and there's the children washing their hands. And they even got their big brother got little brother involved. So it was cute. Over here, they did not have blue coloring, so they used red, which was awesome. Over here, they've drawn and they are busy. Here we asked them to, when they said we're taking a bath, if they have a picture that's lying around of them, they could put it in or cut something out of a magazine, or if they have a computer, print something from their computer. So this was one of the templates that we had that we then sent home. And the child there is our little one over there in the tub. They used the back of an empty toilet roll to make the circles to show all the bubbles. Here's the lesson that we had. This child is actually, I took a screenshot from a video where mommy showed us this is the way we wash our hands. And over here, they had to draw a tooth. So obviously one of the adults assisted with that. And then they had to go find things that gave you plaque and make your teeth unhealthy, and then things that are good for your teeth. So they had fun going through some of the newspapers and magazines and stuff that they had. We also tried to supply some extra old magazines to every child so that they had these types of resources. It was an amazing, fun activity. The kids loved it. The parents' interaction was so good, and the short videos that they sent, they warm the cockles of your heart because you really, really miss these kids. Okay, so here are our theme suggestions for all of you. Week 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first week, our theme suggestion would be washing your hands and getting rid of germs, splosh, splash, taking a bath, and then brush, brushing your teeth. If you could find things that you could send to your parents on a WhatsApp group, and if you could use Snaptube to download things to make it less expensive, more cost effective. The second week, we were thinking of emergency services. So ambulance, police, you will see at the moment the army is out, the police are out, ambulances are everywhere, and it could cause panic and fear with your children. So explain to them what these people do. Don't tell them how negative they are and how bad of a job they do. You have to tell the parents, we are trying to enforce that if you need help, these are the people that you should contact. I know of parents that say, if you're going to be naughty, I'm going to call the police and they will lock you up. That is wrong, because when that child needs help, the police is the last person that they're going to phone. So please help by teaching them our telephone numbers. The police station is quite easy. If I'm going to go to a big screen again, if you do this with the children, in Afrikaans, is een maar mannetjie, een met 'n boep, 3 maar mannetjies, polisieman se roep. Because the number for the police is 10111. So this is a way that you could show your parents and teach the children that if they really need to, they must be able to dial this number. You could send a telephone, look like a cell phone, and you could ask the parents on the screen because they can't print it or draw it, to practice pressing 10111. So if something is wrong, they know that they can contact the police. So that is just a suggestion, especially for the older children that you know you'll be able to do that with. Then in week 3, a visit to the doctor or the hospital. It's not to say that this child's going to contract the virus, but if they do, they are going to be petrified. Parents are not allowed in the hospitals, and they are alone with tubes and pipes. And I don't know if you've been in a hospital, but for me as an adult, it's freaking scary. There are beep beeps and people rushing by, and people are covering their faces, which is scary because all you see is their eyes. So maybe you could ask questions a doctor would ask. Do you have a fever? Are you running a temperature? This lady here is called a nurse, and this is how she looks. Can I look in your mouth? Can I look at your tonsils? Is your throat sore? Any of those will help these children. Medicine, the importance of not taking tablets when you don't have adult supervision, and that doctors do prescribe it. All types of special medicine, because if the vaccine comes out and we need to vaccinate, and it's something we have to inhale, or something that's got to be dropped in our throat, they're going to be scared and petrified of doing that unless we can explain to them that this is good medicine and it's going to make everything better and we'll be able to go back to school. So looking at special medicine, and then everybody is scared of taking medicine when they're young. They don't like it. They spit it out, and they haven't got a very good connotation with medication. So try and put a song in. Just a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. Something that's fun and interactive. You'll find a lot of these on YouTube. And then now suddenly going to the shops is a big thing, because if it's their birthday now, you can't even buy a birthday present because only essential food is available. Everything else, I don't know if you've seen it, they've cordoned it off. You can't buy anything. This is a scary thought for a child as well, because I want that. I can see it. I cannot touch it, but I want it. And then mommy cannot buy it. So maybe talk about those new screens that they put up at the tills, and that we must wash our hands and we must squirt it with sanitizer, and then buying, rather using a card than using money, because money could be dirty at this point in time. We must wear gloves if we go to the shops, and only one person can go so that they can buy. Social distancing, it's funny that they get to a till point. Some of them are with parents who are alone, so they have to take them shopping with them. Now there are these lines stuck on the floor and people have to keep social distancing. So maybe looking at shopping in the COVID-19 situation would be good to help these children through these times. Right. So those are our 4 suggestive themes. And if you need any help with them, if you're lost and you can't work the apps, if anything is not working for you, on Facebook, just leave me a post and I will definitely get back to you. So the last 3 little things that we're looking at in today's Zoom or webinar session, WhatsApp party, is trying to teach you as well as the parents that we are trying to develop the whole body of the child. So it's the whole body approach. Firstly, we're going to focus on sensory input. They need to know that when you are teaching them those steps, you want to teach so that all 5 of the senses are covered, because it stimulates sensory input. So make sure your planning includes seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. So if they see something, I spy with my little eye is a game that they could play. They recognize it. I recognize this. Its color is yellow. I recognize that. It is a circle. All of that is fun interactions without worksheets. Hearing and sound quality, parents could play music loud and soft. They could let them watch the YouTube videos and music. While they're washing their hands, they could put their little music MP3 on their phone, which says, this is the way we wash our hands, and then everybody learns the words of the songs that way. So a little bit of paper interaction, but not a lot. More technological, and ask the parents to also learn the songs so that they can sing them with their family members. Smell. Here we look at something smelling nice and something smelling not so nice. So if we are looking at brushing your teeth, for example, how does your breath smell in the morning? Oh, that's not good. And then after brushing your teeth, oh, it smells like peppermint. So small things. Remember, parents don't know, so you are teaching them. And then taste, look at things in the house that are sweet, sour, salty, etc. and try and incorporate that in your lesson. Peppermint, the taste of toothpaste tastes like peppermint. Ask them, if you had to brush your teeth with salt, how would it taste? And then you let them put their finger into the salt. Would you like to brush your teeth with salt? No, I wouldn't. It is too salty. Or a lemon, it's too sour. Or sugar, no, sugar is bad for my teeth. It's very sweet and it causes that I have little black holes in my teeth. Okay. Touch things that are soft and rough and smooth. You could also show the parents how to incorporate these into your lessons. And once again, songs and rhymes and things, all age appropriate. You look for stuff that you know is age appropriate. The parents will just implement what you have sent. The younger the child, the less words and the more repetition in a phrase. And the older they are, the more lyrics and the less repetition. For a child to be able to interact in a theme, they need words, vocabulary. So send photos of the things you are talking about, pictures, ask the parents just to look for things on their phone and share that. When we learn songs, it's better to do movements with it because you remember. It's like twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. So when you are taking this video of yourself or you found a video, try and look for interactive movements which will help the child learn the vocabulary quicker. We as human beings are made up of a trinity, body, soul, and mind. So we have to show the parents and ourselves, we have to remind ourselves when planning that we need to cover the body, the soul, and the mind. So when we're looking at the body, we're looking at big muscles. So these are our large muscles. That's when we swing and we run and we gallop and we hang and we hop. Those are all our big muscles. We call them gross motor skills. Then we have our fine muscles. Our fine muscles, if I can stop sharing again up here, are from the tip of your finger to your elbow. So this would be ripping or threading or painting or writing. Small muscles. I don't use my big muscles when I am writing. So we have to teach the parent what to look out for. Right. So here is our fine motor skills from the tip of your elbow to the tip of your fingers. These muscle movements are normally controlled and they are in a sitting position or standing position. There's not a lot of movement. Your arms and your shoulders and your hands are moving, not much else. Large motor skills are large muscle movements. As I said, it's skipping and jumping, and you have to have movement in place before you could do worksheets. So try and incorporate an activity where they have to do something physical so that the muscles work, so that the brain could work. Cognitive skills, of course, are problem solving. This is your mind, your cognate, the ability to think through things, to think crucially, to answer questions. So teach the parents not just to solve every problem for them. Give them scenarios where they have to find a solution themselves and ask a lot of questions and see how insightful their answers are. And then, of course, I think for me, this is also extremely important. Emotional stability at this time is key. These children already feel that they're lost and that they're alone, and they're being yelled at home because they're irritating their parents, and they miss their friends and their teachers and their play equipment at school, and they just want to go back to school. It's just like you trying to get rid of the lockdown and wanting to visit somebody. They feel the same. So children need rules. They need guidelines and praise and correction. Then you have developed the whole emotion of a child. So make sure that you tell these parents to keep on filling up this child's emotional piggy bank. All of us have an emotional piggy bank. When we hear a lot of compliments and people praise us, ka-ching, ka-ching, money goes into this little fat piggy bank of ours. Every time something negative is said, no, that's ugly, it's not the nicest picture I've ever seen, there's a withdrawal, ka-chong, that goes out. And if there are more ka-chongs than ka-chings, we have a problem at the end of the day, because then this piggy bank is becoming thinner and thinner, and it can go bankrupt, and then you will have a depressed child. So teach the parents to keep on reinforcing this piggy bank by praising and saying, I don't understand why you did it that way. Could you explain it to me? Instead of saying, an apple is not blue. Why is your apple blue? Don't be stupid. Remember, we were taught to handle this and they were not. So you need to teach them. And then in the last instance that we have here, apps and websites that you can try. So these will help you and your parents to save money. I said SnapTube, you can download that on your cell phone. It's very easy. You go to the App Store, you download it, it's free, and then you play around with it until you understand it. You can download things from YouTube, videos and music and things. It might even ask you, I know mine asked me, I'm going to stop sharing the screen quickly again. Mine asked me at the end of the day to also install this little guy here called Lark Player. It's like a media MP3 player. Oh, you can't see very clearly there, but it's a little blue bird called Lark Player, but it will prompt you to do that. I didn't know anything, and if I can do it, you can do it too. Normally my children and my husband are the tech savvy ones. After this, I'm also going to be a techie. So in our last screen that we are sharing today, here we go. There are other options to downloading YouTube videos. There's an HTTPS that you could perhaps go and look at. There's SnapTube's HTTPS. Alternavito is also an alternative that you could use. And then if you've got a PC, you could use ClipGrab. I downloaded that, and now I can save YouTube videos and make things on ClipGrab. Speaking to children, WhatsApp is the best option, but people don't all have WhatsApp, so you could register for Zoom. Zoom does cost money. It does use data. Skype, a video call, a watch party on Facebook. And if you want to try your hand at video editing a little bit, as easy as pie, you can look at KineMaster, and there's a lot of KineMaster videos on YouTube. So I'm trusting that it's going well with all of you during the lockdown, that you are helping your parents and your children, and that you don't see every obstacle you face as Mount Ararat. Remember, if you try and solve the problem before just saying, I have a problem, the solutions actually come quicker than the problems arise. So as a group of teachers, maybe have your own little WhatsApp group for the school, and on there post ideas and share information and say, hi, Teacher Deshandra, I found something amazing for a 1 to 2 year old on the theme ambulance. Won't you look at this? Because we are there to help each other, and we will continue doing this on our platform on Facebook. Hopefully it's opened a few eyes and given you a few opportunities. If you've got problems with any of these, without all my techie knowledge, I will come back and I will help wherever I possibly can. The last but not least, you cannot expect everything to be perfect the first time round. If you are making a little video, take an example video, take one video first. Write little notes so that you don't stutter and fall over your own words, and then you'll get into it. I'm seeing with our teachers, they're now comfortable making these videos. They're doing much better than I ever could. And then keep on praying for your children, praying for your families, plead the blood of Jesus over them daily. And then we are trusting that when we get back together with these kiddies, lots of their social issues will be sorted out, and their emotional issues, because they're having bonding time with parents. And parents will start to understand the issues that we are having with some of the children that have learning fallbacks or barriers. And yes, see this as a challenge. It's not a disaster. It is something we can overcome together, and ask questions. Stay blessed, be safe, keep well.